Extreme sports are defined by their breathtaking stunts, incredible risks, and the courageous athletes who push the boundaries of what seems possible. But sometimes, those very risks bring tragedy. One of the most shocking and heartbreaking examples came in January 2013, when Caleb Moore, a 25-year-old snowmobile rider from Texas, suffered a fatal accident at the Winter X Games in Aspen, Colorado. His story remains one of the most devastating moments in action sports history. Caleb Moore wasn't just another competitor. He was considered one of the brightest young stars in freestyle snowmobiling. Born in Crum, Texas, he grew up far from snow, but developed a passion for extreme motorsports alongside his younger brother, Colton. With natural talent, determination, and creativity, Caleb quickly rose through the ranks. By 2010, he was already competing on the grand stage of the Winter X Games. Known for his daring flips and fearless style, he became a fan favorite. Despite being relatively new to the sport, he won 4 X Games medals and was seen as the future of snowmobile freestyle. The night of his accident, Caleb was competing in the freestyle snowmobile finals. The atmosphere in Aspen was electric. Spectators cheered as riders launched their 450-pound machines into the air, flipping and twisting with death-defying precision. When Caleb revved up for his run, the crowd knew they were about to see something big. He attempted a backflip, one of the most dangerous tricks in the sport. But as he landed, disaster struck. His snowmobile's skis caught the lip of the landing ramp, and instead of riding out cleanly, the machine pitched forward. Caleb was thrown over the handlebars, and in a horrifying instant, the snowmobile slammed down directly on top of him, crushing him into the hard-packed snow. Gasps echoed through the stadium. For a moment, it looked like he might be okay. Caleb even stood up briefly, shaken but seemingly conscious. Emergency crews rushed to his side and escorted him off the course. The crowd breathed a sigh of relief, believing the worst had been avoided. But appearances were deceiving. Shortly after being taken to the hospital, Caleb's condition worsened. Doctors discovered he had suffered serious injuries to his heart and brain. Despite undergoing emergency surgery, the trauma was too severe. On January 31, 2013, just a week after the accident, Caleb Moore tragically passed away. He became the first athlete in X Games history to die from injuries sustained during competition. The news devastated the extreme sports community and sent shockwaves across the world. The reaction to Caleb's death was immediate and emotional. Fans, fellow athletes, and sports organizations expressed their grief. His brother, Colton, who had also been competing at the same event and suffered injuries in a separate crash, was heartbroken, as was their entire family. The tragedy sparked debates about the safety of snowmobile freestyle and whether the X Games pushed athletes too far. Snowmobiles weigh nearly 500 pounds, and performing aerial flips on such machines leaves little margin for error. Critics argued that ESPN and X Games organizers needed to reevaluate the risks. In response, the X Games eventually removed snowmobile freestyle from its lineup, citing safety concerns. While the sport had thrilled audiences, Caleb's death was a grim reminder of the life-threatening dangers involved. Caleb Moore's legacy. Though his career was cut tragically short, Caleb Moore left an enduring legacy. He was remembered as a fearless competitor with a kind heart and a passion for life. His family described him as someone who lived fully, always chasing his dreams and inspiring others to do the same. Many athletes honored him by dedicating their performances to his memory. His passing also brought greater awareness to the risks extreme athletes face and the need for improved safety measures. Even today, fans remember that chilling moment in Aspen. Not only the horrifying crash, but also the bright, charismatic rider who changed the sport forever. Caleb Moore's story remains a sobering reminder. In the world of extreme sports, triumph and tragedy are separated by the thinnest of margins. The horrifying story of Caleb Moore's fatal snowmobile accident is one of the darkest chapters in X Games history. What began as a night of thrilling competition turned into a tragedy that shocked the world. His final ride serves as a reminder of both the courage and the fragility of athletes who risk everything in pursuit of greatness. Caleb Moore will forever be remembered not for the way he died, but for the way he lived, with passion, daring, and an unbreakable spirit. The story of Caleb Moore is one of brilliance, passion, and ultimately heartbreaking tragedy. Born in 1987 in Texas, Caleb never intended to become a snowmobile superstar. Growing up in a warm climate far from the snow-covered peaks of the north, he began his career as an ATV racer before transitioning into snowmobiles. His natural athleticism and fearless determination quickly made him a name to remember in the extreme sports community. By the late 2000s, Caleb had become a familiar face at the Winter X Games, where only the boldest athletes compete. He wasn't just another rider, he was an innovator. Each time he lined up, spectators knew they were about to see something daring, something extraordinary. But as history would show, that very risk-taking spirit was also what ultimately cost him his life. On January 24, 2013, during the Winter X Games in Aspen, Colorado, Caleb Moore attempted a backflip on his 450-pound snowmobile. The crowd roared with anticipation as he launched off the ramp. But in that crucial moment, the rotation didn't complete as planned. The machine came crashing down, slamming Caleb to the ground and flipping over him. Gasps filled the air. For a second, the arena went silent. At first, Caleb was able to walk away with assistance, and many thought he would recover. But over the next few days, internal injuries revealed their severity. Doctors discovered damage to his heart and brain. Despite undergoing emergency surgery, the trauma was too severe. On January 31, 2013, just a week after the accident, Caleb Moore tragically passed away at the age of 25. Why does Caleb's story still resonate so deeply? Because he embodied the essence of extreme sports, the relentless pursuit of pushing boundaries even when the risks were monumental. Fans and fellow athletes described him as humble, driven, and full of life. His death shocked the entire sports world and sparked debates about the safety of high-risk competitions. In the aftermath, ESPN and the X Games faced intense scrutiny. Questions arose. Should limits be placed on tricks? Should heavier regulations ensure athlete safety? The tragic irony was that Caleb himself had once acknowledged the dangers, yet he believed the thrill and love of the sport outweighed the fear. Even now, his story is retold not just as a cautionary tale, but also as a testament to passion. Caleb Moore may have lost his life, but he left behind a legacy that continues to inspire riders and remind us of the fine line between glory and tragedy. As fans reflect on that horrifying day, they remember not just the accident, but the young man who lived without fear and chased his dreams until the very end. Caleb's name will forever be linked with courage, risk, and the sobering reality of what it means to push beyond human limits.